I'm going to be playing Nodebuster, which is another incremental accumulation idle clicker game type game that showed up in the recommendations for the two games I just played. So I'm feeling pretty solid about it. Is it supposed to screen tear? I mean, VSync is on, so I guess it just does that. Like, I guess that's the pixels. The underlying pixels. Ah. Well, that's interesting. This game menu looks like Digxium a little bit. Interesting. Okay. I'm just here to see if I can, have an interesting time. The new mechanic is certainly health. Alright. Interesting. That seems bad, like I wouldn't want that at the moment. I guess I can get XP now. Maybe my health just passively diminishes? Maybe it diminishes based on what's on screen? I guess I'll see if it well, it seems like it's just passively deteriorating. I don't think I need any more though. Oh. Okay. Now I kind of see why I would want this. Thinking about just being in things to like see if there's any novel mechanics in there reminds me of E.M. Forster's The Machine Stops, which kind of predicts that everyone will in the future will just hang out at home and watch YouTube videos, YouTube video essays, and then one brave man will say, no, I would prefer not to. I will be leaving instead. bosses. Wow. Wait, am I supposed to put myself on here? I guess so. So maybe this progress just takes me to a boss. It's, yeah. This was sort of a promising start, but don't really know if I'm interested in hovering over squares for this long. That was cool though. Why are some of them lit up? Oh. Oh, you can level them up. I should be leveling this one up. Okay. That's a very similar system to Dixium, which I suppose may have been influenced by this, or I didn't check who this was by. Maybe it's by the same person. I don't think so though, because I actually did follow Rat Monthly on Steam, and that monthly Rat only had one game. Right click to pan as well. Not a clicking game, more of a hovering game. Anyway, I think there's something more, there's something better somehow about if you were to spend all your time playing video games in the EM Forester future than just like listening to lectures about society. Because like, it's also not like a society that does anything anymore. So in the video game, you are doing something. Although the thing you're doing might not be... it's yellow. Might not be important. You are, in some sense, active. But of course, the best thing they do is have telephone calls. Pretty sure. Although I have a lot of telephone calls, and let me tell you, I would prefer to hang out with people in person. It's like night and day. EM Forester was really seeing people listen to the radio and talk on the telephone and going like, oh, I see where this is going. I hope that's the right name of the guy, or perhaps a woman who wrote it. I don't know. It's just the one famous one. I haven't listened to any lectures about society on the topic. So in other news, Leap Year got like a DLC. called Leap Year March, which is like, oh, it's more challenging, which is not really how I would describe what I would want from a Leap Year expansion. So I don't think I'll be playing that. I mean, you know, the original game was alright. I enjoyed it often. Thanks to that guy for making it. But I have a lot of games I've been meaning to get to. And getting to one that I already know the gist of, not that important to me. The limited time we have on Earth, I'll spend it hovering over squares instead, I guess. That's nice. What have you got for me? It seems that when I attack the boss, my health goes down. Curious. That's a pretty good bonus. I don't know if yellow is really the color I would go with for that. It's gonna be pretty satisfying when this fire rate increases, I'm sure. I guess I lose health when I attack the squares as well. I would like this. Maybe it is somehow a function of having squares on screen. And like once I get to a certain number of squares, my health will start going down. I missed the, you know, lore dump for this game that explains that you're rescuing the Princess Zelda and also how to play the game. You know, in The Legend of Zelda, oh, the squares can go like on top of each other. In those games, anyone can be a hero. But of course, in real life, if anyone can be a hero, it's not that interesting, because we think of exceptional people, they're by definition exceptional. Except me. I happen to be enamored with things we can all do. Like, think and walk around and have regard for somebody. Have a nice day. Achieve ambitions. Act morally. Start a family. Join a noise band. Move to Chicago. Alright, we'll see if we can get this guy. Move to Philly? That's a quote from Hannibal Buress on the Eric Andre show. I wonder if this game has controller support. Would be a good one for it. Nice. Hmm. Ooh, yeah. Alright, I just want to do one. Like this. But then I think that's basically like you gotta ramp up every time. Or else you're almost not even playing the game. Prestige 0. Me when I describe my career path. The other day I had lunch with a friend of mine who described actually seeing in a sort of algorithmically curated feed something I've only heard legends about, an AI like description summation of a movie, and I guess like clips of the movie play, and they're like, wow, this is a movie about a guy who woke up in a place, and like it's a real movie, like they're just telling you the plot of Blade Runner or whatever. I wonder if I cut out there, because my headset complained about having low battery, even though I'm using it in like local mode. So you'd think that wouldn't be an issue, but it actually does like produce interesting. So I guess the amount of enemies on the screen does in fact deteriorate my health. Anyway, she saw one of these movies so described and then decided to watch the movie, so I guess that's the most, you know, utility you could possibly get out of one of those things, in my opinion. Spit. Oh. Well, now we know. On this game, some of my Steam friends, who have never mentioned this to me, randomly turn out to have played it. 2 different people, in fact, who don't know each other. And I only have like 12 Steam friends. So that's that's something. Maybe this game is good. Maybe not, though. So I guess on my hypothesis, increasing the spawn rate kind of doesn't help me because the squares will hurt me more. But also, like, increasing endurance just means there's more time between the rounds, which only matters if I'm trying to kill the boss, which I very well might be. Damage is a friend of mine. see. I'm playing this game to wind down before bed, so my stream of consciousness is very sloppy. It's very sleepy core. It's very sleepy time boy pilled. I'm also thinking way faster than I can talk, which is interesting. Maybe I should just try talking faster, I don't know. Maybe I should just try monologuing at the speed of thought, you know? Go the other way from sleepy time, boy time, and just talk really fast. I can think so quickly though, because I don't need to move my little mouth muscles. I instantly thought of the terms mouth muscles, and then I was like, so you gotta move the old meat, the old flappy meat in the face to articulate that. Shit. Now on that one, I did have to pick the words for flappy meat. Maybe there's, you know, it has to go through the module in the brain that picks the words. And I think instantly, and then it has to, like, okay, we're decoding the words into the voice module that picks the words. Don't worry about it, there will be some good words in the end. Don't worry about it, it's fine. It's fine. We'll have the good words. You know, like the Bible? Those are the good words. The fact that I just stammered like that, like those are the good words, is unclear to me why I did that. And I never really got down to it. I think as a child I thought I would never do that, and now as an adult I do it all the time, and I never figured out what changed. Of course, children talk in a weird way anyway, so like, who knows? Maybe as part of learning to not talk like that, you realize you need to restart sentences sometimes instead of just full speed ahead like children do. Okay, right there, when I paused in the middle, I'm pretty sure I was inhaling, which is also something children don't do very well when they talk, which is pretty funny. It's like an unusual ratio of thinking speed to talking speed right now. I wasn't sure I was gonna say the word ratio between them. Me am think fast, talk slow. I will simply use the caveman method. I once read a guide to going out and having a good time, basically, that suggested you constantly narrate what you're doing to yourself, as this will basically simulate the effects of being drunk, which sounds crazy, but I agree. Just having done that, you know, just talking about what you're doing to yourself, you're like, yeah, getting kind of loopy, in a loop, my verbal loop, if you will. I don't know why I say you know, because you don't know. I'm the one telling you about it. It's me. I'm the guy. I sort of feel like the stammer that I did there, and I'm the guy telling you about it. I think that might be an affectation. I think I might have picked that up for comedy purposes at one point, and then it just became ingrained in the way I talk. I could become one of those guys who speaks without filler words. I usually do, anyway. Except when I'm saying you know, an interesting experience from my life is that my mom actually wanted me to say more She was not one of those mothers who thought you must banish from your vocabulary. And I would get tired of her ridiculous questions, you know, and she would ask me a question and I would just think about it. And she complained. She said, you gotta give an indication to me that you're thinking about it. Which, you know, I'm looking at her. What more indication do you need? But we're very verbal people. We speak language. I don't know, are we very verbal people? I'd say we are. In my family, I think a number of us are verbal enough in an exaggerated way that you could say we have that running through us. Come to think of it, I'm not saying a lot as far as I know, although also sometimes that gets filtered out. And that is a skill I have, which is useful for giving a prepared presentation. Although also whenever I give presentations, like, apparently this is sort of unique to American schools. We're always given presentations on things to the other students. And other schools are like, why would you do that? Just write down what you learned and I'll tell you if it's right. I don't know. And I started out my giving presentations career going like, oh, I gotta go give a special presentation in a special way, how stressful. And then I eventually realized I'm just talking to my friends. I'm just in this classroom talking to my friends and peers, and I will simply try to amuse and delight them, as I always do in conversation. There is no need to be alarmed. I will tell them some facts I found on Wikipedia, or the paper equivalent of Wikipedia. Whatever they call them. I think books. That might be related. That word. I really picked up my talking speed, or at least the talking rate if you include the rates of silence, but it's still not enough. I still think much faster than I talk. I guess if I talk instead of just thinking, it's harder for me to talk faster than I think. I suppose just because I have to attend to what I'm saying. But then again, also sometimes I lapse into silence here, and it's because I'm thinking about, you know, some business that doesn't really concern you. Like, I would just thought about my friend whom I sent a message with something funny in it that was related to a conversation we had, but it's not funny enough that I will share what it is. And I was only thinking about him. Well, I guess I was thinking about him because of that event that happened. However, interesting. So even if I'm not hovering over the boss, it still damages me when it's there. Per pulse. Which implies that the rate upgrade for pulsing is not an unalloyed good because it diminishes your health regeneration. Anyway, I was thinking about him probably because I thought of him earlier, but the main thing I thought about him is, oh, I'll call that guy eventually, that'll be fun. You know? I may even have thought I should call that guy, because I call a lot of my friends, but he's a guy I call on a fixed schedule. that he figures out because he's in grad school at the moment, so he's pretty busy. Also, he did that anyway. He's just a guy who likes to have calls planned out in advance. I guess he was working a regular job as well. But again, I think he's... I suppose he's a sort of person who sort of needs to recover from having social interaction. Even when he was between job and grad school, and we were both hanging out in the same town, his hometown, my hometown. Technically different towns, but who's counting? Close enough. And I said, hey, my work hours are flexible. We should just hang out as much as possible. He still said, well, I wouldn't want to hang out like tomorrow. I would need to rest before I do that. I used to be that way, and sometimes I still am. Especially if there's something else I want to do. Hold on, I'm trying to figure out the damage rate. I guess you gotta subtract out. What you get from killing guys. Does it increase? That seemed a lot like it was increasing. All of these trains of thought will be lost, like trains of thought that I've forgotten. I was making a note to myself. My highly important notes and highly important notes.txt. I don't have one of those. I just have other documents. Alright. Really slow rolling it through the Prestige 1. Can you dig it? Maybe later I'll unlock more upgrades, which will sort of describe further upgrades that might happen, which in turn will elucidate some of the gameplay concepts to me, like what controls the numbers, because there will be an upgrade that says, oh, the number has gone down in this circumstance, implying the number goes up in that circumstance when you don't have the upgrade. Something like this. You know, the derivative goes down, and you're like, ah, there's a derivative. Ooh. That implies there's a rate. I guess whatever the name is, there's a change in circumstance, which one could take the derivative of. Wow. Taking it easy. Probably, you know, I have to go to bed pretty soon. It's interesting. I say, you know, at the beginning of clauses, which is just how most people have said it. I suppose. Even when I say, you know, at the end of a clause, I feel like it is its own clause, and I just don't bother to say anything after it, you know? That little pause there. I'm not a big suffix you know guy, like in some styles of speaking English. So this seems to damage me more. What, am I ramming my head against it or something? I guess Trump gave a State of the Union speech recently, or something like that. Presidents are always given a speech, I suppose that's called the State of the Union. Whenever they give a speech to Congress, you know? Seems like he just got in. What's he going giving a speech for? Like, he did some stuff. I guess the speech is quarterly or something. I thought it was like yearly. I suppose it has to do with the sessions of the Congress. Anyway, my friend's former congressman, when he lived in Texas, died after that event. Just of being an older gentleman. So, you know, my condolences. He didn't seem that old to me from the picture. Old enough where you're like, well, these things happen. Not old enough where you're like, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner. Not so old where you're like, these things always happen. Not so old that if you were to live another day, you would say, in a sort of surprised way, well, these things happen. That's a stupid attempt at a joke. Nobody in any context says, well, these things happen about a man surviving. Maybe if he was miraculously cured of a disease, you could say that. But he's not. He's just an older guy. Again, not even that old. It's weird because, like, this can't be true, but I access my thoughts in what feels to me like a very linguistic form. Even though, in some sense, I just ran my mind over the shape of what I would say about how old the guy was. they were still expressed in like ghost words or something. This damage power up is doing well. Everybody gets what they deserve in this life. If you wait 90 minutes, etc., etc. I should probably brush my teeth more. I'm drinking a lot of coffee these days. That can't be good for my enamel and stuff. Tooth bone, I think, is technically what it's called. Tubby tooth bone. I do just... Wait, hold on. I do just like doing damage, you know? When the squares stick around, I think... I feel like coming into this I had more action items, but I guess they're just kind of... They're things on my plate that I personally have to do. There are some other games I'll be playing. There's a Leap Year March, which I won't be playing. Even though, for some reason, somehow, in my wicked little heart, personally designed by Jesus Christ, to go against the edicts of God, I think, I should play it. I mean, I've already played the first one. It's like I'm losing money to not play the DLC for Leap Year March. Like, he made it for real leap year heads, of which I am now, I suppose, technically one. I think after this round I should go to sleep, because I sort of thought I would progress fast enough that the game would be over now, but the game is slower, and I have not. I'm gonna try plugging in my controller at least. Oh, I defeated the boss. There you go. I'm the greatest to ever do it. Okay. Is this... I mean, is this anything? Is this how the game she has played? This game was not designed to support controllers, but it's using keyboard and mouse, Steam control, default mapping, you know, kind of thing. Let's browse the community layouts. Oh. Let's apply the layout, baby. Thank you, whoever you are. Oh, I see. Basically just does the opposite of the default binding, right? You know. Repeat. Why wasn't that green if I can buy it? I guess this is gonna be like, this speed is gonna be better when I'm actually in the game. I guess this must be coarse. Yeah, this is not bad. That's actually kind of bad. I don't know if it's actually possible to modulate the speed things go in the Steam controller mapping. It might be impossible. Or, you know, whoever made this, I believe it was described as like a quick and simple mapping, so like, hey. Fair enough. Okay. It's only 100 bits. I'm gonna go back to the keyboard and mouse layout. Oh, of course it's WASD. Right, that's why it would, yeah, that's why it would do that. It's also trigger to click, which is sort of funny, I guess. Really satisfying to buy those upgrades, though, I tell you. Okay. I'm unplugging the controller and plugging the mouse back in. This... Oh yeah, dim is I don't have it. Not that it's not available. Right, I forgot that. As we say in the business, can't brain today, got the dumb. Can't brain in the last 15 minutes because I'm actively trying to shut down my brain so I can go to sleep. Always been confusing to me, this sleep thing. It's like an action you can take, but you take it by just like not doing anything for a while. It's not clear to me why there isn't like a conscious, just like, okay, I will now sleep. Like, you know, that doesn't seem crazy to me. I guess you never had to be able to control that, so we never evolved to be able to take that mental action any more than we, you know, evolved to be able to control our mucus glands or whatever. I think some people have claimed that by focusing really hard or meditating or something, you can control your histamine reaction, which is funny to me.